Now, let me tell you why I want to talk to you about it. If the statistics are true, and they probably are because of the conversations we wind up having around here, about half of all Americans don't really have a firm grasp on how to handle the money that has come into their life. I mean, by that I mean it comes in and it goes out, and they don't really have a grasp on where it's going or how it's going, or they just feel like, man, I work so hard, but I never seem to get ahead, and I feel this pressure when it comes to money. Or there are people who go, I don't have a job, and I feel insecure, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. In fact, everybody else around would think by looking on the outside that I'm doing okay, but I just feel pressure all the time. Or you get to be my age, or even people, 10, 15 years younger than me, you're 45, and you know that you can see retirement is not like way off like it used to be, and you can see it over the horizon, and you haven't really prepared for that, and you feel so much pressure about it, but you don't really know what to do with that. And so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about this. And to be honest with you, one of the things that I want to say to you about this is if you're in that category, again, where you probably more than half of you don't really have a firm grasp on how to do this or even have a conversation about it, and it just makes you exhausted to think about it, is I just want you to not have any guilt associated with this at all. Because the truth is, probably nobody that really cared about you ever talked to you about this. That it's one of the odd things to me in our world, particularly in the United States, where just by getting born here, we wind up having more than almost anybody in the world, but everybody just sort of assumes we'll know what to do with it when we get it. So therefore, we don't talk about it in school. Your parents don't tend to talk to you about it. In fact, we just did a parenting class where Becky and I were with parents, and you just get the sense nobody really talks about this to your kids. Everybody just sort of feels like everybody knows how to handle money, but how could you know how to handle it when nobody ever told you how to handle it? So I'm really glad you're here. And I want to say something particularly about a goal I have personally for the next little bit, and it's really going to be short. If you're here in your middle school or high school, or you're in college, or you don't have much money right now, and you're at a point where you don't have very much, I want to say to you, you're at the perfect place because you're just starting out. This is way easier to get right when you don't have much than when you're further ahead on this kind of thing. So I hope you're really going to listen here, and I'm really glad you're here. And I just want to say to you, it's something you can figure out. Even if you haven't had any great role models in your life, you can figure this out. This is not all that complicated. In fact, it's one of the areas in life where there just should be no mystery to it at all. I mean, there's so many areas of our world where there's mystery, like, how's the government working? Why do they do all the crazy stuff they do in Washington? A lot of mystery surrounding that. A lot of mystery are why men and women do what they do. We don't really understand each other. I get the mystery surrounding that. There's a lot of mystery around relationships, and they feel like they're okay, and then all of a sudden they're not okay, and what made them so complicated all of a sudden. I get there's mystery around that, but like money is like the one area of life there shouldn't be any mystery around it at all. But we complicate it because nobody's ever really talked to us about it. We haven't thought much about it, and it winds up just exhausting us, and we feel spent. But again, I just want to say to you, don't feel any guilt about that if that's where you honestly are. It probably most likely isn't your fault that you're there. Maybe nobody ever taught you, or maybe somebody taught you badly about what to do about it. And the truth is, you're like the vast majority of everybody else sitting right around you. You haven't been taught about this, but I want to promise you, starting out, you can figure this out if you want to figure this out, because it's not very complicated at all. That's why a guy like me, educated in Mississippi, feels completely free to teach you about it. It's just not that hard.